सत्कारमय गुरुदेव, सत्कारमय गुरुदेव, सत्कारमय गुरुदेव, सत्कारमय गुरुदेव.
Hari Om to everybody. Welcome.
Hari Om. We'll start with our prayers. Please unmute now, all of you. Together we'll chant. Sahano Sahavirya Karvavahai Tejasvitavishavahishavahai. Chinmayam Devam Brahma Vidvayam. Hari Om. We do start. Meghna, start.
Yes, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Towards the end of every ritualistic worship of the Lord or devotional singing, bhajana, or to welcome an honored guest or saint, we perform the arati. This is always accompanied by the ringing of the bell and sometimes by singing, playing of musical instruments and clapping. It is one of the 16 steps, Shodasha Upakara, of the puja ritual. It is referred to as the offering of the auspicious light, Mangala Nirajanam. Holding the lighted lamp in the right hand, we wave the flame in a clockwise circling movement to light the entire form of the Lord. As the light is waved, we either do mental or loud chanting of prayers or simply behold the beautiful form of the Lord, illumined by the lamp. We experience an added intensity in our prayers, and the Lord's image seems to manifest a special beauty at that time. At the end of the arati, we place our hands over the flame and then gently touch our eyes and the top of our head. We have
Okay,
seen
stop
and
Meghna. Stop Meghna here.
yes, okay.
Now, first tell me what is the meaning of Aarti or definition of Aarti?
It is like a small hymn or a devotional singing bhajana.
Okay.
We do it to welcome like saint or a guest,
Yeah.
honored guest.
Okay. I meant what is the definition? What you can understand from this? What is it? Because any good auspicious or anything for achieving any good aspects, before that we do Aarti. Or after doing puja or a mantra or chants, we in the end we do Aarti.
that. We perform
So,
Aarti.
yeah, the performer, it eliminates the Lord. So what is the definition actually? It's our profound act of selfishness, no? It is our profound act of selfless devotion towards God.
Yes.
So that is the meaning. We are offering our love and gratitude towards God, in short.
Yeah.
Now I'll ask Myra to.
Seen and participated in the ritual from our childhood. Why do we do Aarti? Having worshipped the Lord with love, performing Abhisheka, decorating the image and offering fruits, and all delicious wishless performance the Aarti. We see the beauty of the Lord in all His glory. Our mind gets focused on each limb of the Lord, illuminated by the light of the Aarti. It is a keep silent, open eye meditation on His beautiful form, the singing, clapping, ringing of the bell, and so on, denote the joy and auspiciousness which accompanies the vision of love. Aarti is often performed with
Okay,
camphor.
stop.
This goal
Okay, it's Myra here. Can you,
yes,
Myra?
ma'am.
Okay, can you put light on this para?
Okay.
We are decorating Lord.
Yes, ma'am. Before Aarti, we decorate his photo and we even put fruits like Naivedya in front of him.
And there is a lot of joy, singing, clapping, ringing.
Yes, ma'am.
Each thing represents something, denotes something. Why we have musical instruments around? We are clapping, we are singing, and we are lighting agarbatti, dhoop. We are offering flowers to the God.
Ma'am, to denote joy and auspiciousness.
For each thing, agarbatti to sanctify the place. And there are 5 kinds of aarti actually. That is deep aarti, jal aarti, dhoop aarti, dhoop or agarbatti aarti. Then camphor with
Sage.
kapoor also you do. There are 5. So each thing has its. We do agarbatti to sanctify the place, and yeah.
Yeah,
Sufficient.
basically, this is all a ritual. Whenever, let's say, we want to work in a place, let's say we want to do our own work at home or let's say in office or in school. Would you like to sit in a place if it is, a little bit filthy, not in order, or if it is, let's say, having some kind of a bad odor? You obviously will not like it. So here, this is a kind of an act we do to make the area quite clean, neat, in order, and also create that kind of thing in our mind so that we get that positive mindset when we are thinking only about God, and we don't have to think about external things like a bad odor coming from here, or let's say some kind of sound happening. So all this is a kind of a preparatory stage where we try to create an environment. So once you create that environment, I think positively it will be good. So just like when you have to, let's say, do any work, and if there is a right kind of environment around you, for sure it will add to your performance. So this is also something which we are doing it symbolically, but this is the actually one of the things that I thought is
Yeah, that's
around
it. That is the basic reason behind it. We create an environment so that we'll be able to focus on the form of the Lord clearly. So it purifies air, it sanctifies the place. Then our negative thoughts are irradiated. So we are filled with the positive energy. Hmm? Okay, now Siddhi will take over next para.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Siddhi, go ahead.
Aarti is often performed with camphor. This holds a telling spiritual significance. Camphor, when lit, burns itself out completely. It represents our inherent tendency, vasanas, lit by the fire of knowledge, which illumines the Lord truth, or our vasanas and the ego, which creates a sense of individuality that keeps us separate from the Lord, burn themselves out completely. Also, even as it burns and sacrifices itself, the lighted camphor reveals the glory of the Lord and emits a pleasant fragrance. Similarly, we too should willingly sacrifice ourselves and all we have. We serve the Guru and society and spread the fragrance to of all the world. To all.
Okay,
When the aarti is
Siddhi.
actually
Yeah, when Aarti is
ma'am, what
performed
you
with.
told?
Yeah, give the
Perform
regarding this, Sarah, just say a few lines what you could understand.
means when we put that camphor into that fire, it gives us pleasant fragrance and the glory of Lord.
Yeah, glory of
The
the Lord
property
and
And
property of camphor that is
our
mentioned over here is slightly different. It's slightly different. See, camphor. I think if you have watched the camphor burning, it burns. It does not leave any kind of, like when you burn a paper or when you burn a plastic or something. What happens at the end of the thing? You still find some kind of a residual thing that lies there, right? You can still see after it has burnt. Let's say even paper or something, you still see some residue, right?
yeah.
Even in your science classes, you would have heard about what is a residual. See, if camphor is one thing, when you burn it, it doesn't leave any trace at all. It completely burns itself. That means it selflessly gives. So that means parlance. The meaning is, completely surrenders to the God. And it also leaves behind some beautiful fragrance or some kind of a element which makes it so pleasant and so nice. So this is one of the property of camphor that is kept here. And it also mentioned about it burns of all of vasanas. It says inherent tendencies. So vasanas is something which unfulfilled desires. For example, think of a child. A child, he wants something very badly. He wants a toy very badly, and he pesters his father and mother. I want this toy. I want this toy. And then let's say for whatever reason, parents are not. Are obliged to refuse, maybe for some reason, maybe it's night time, the shops are not open, or maybe they find the boys pushy, so they then the child cries, cries, and sometimes he slips off with that wish in his mind. I'm just giving some example here. And then morning again he wakes up, there are chances he'll remember that toy again in the morning, again he'll start asking, oh, I want that toy, I want that toy. So I'm saying in that balance, vasanas is something like that. If there is something undesired, desire, and unfulfilled desire that you have in mind, that will remain. So here, one of the simile that is given here is in form of camphor, is that it burns off all your vasanas. So there should not be any kind of desires left. I mean, something which is unethical desires, basically. Ethical desires are always good. Ethical desires like, okay, I want God, I want. That's an ethical desire. I want to do some service. That's an ethical desire. But an unethical desire, like want for some materialistic thing or something, which really may not really be required. So that's what he's talking about. So when they say inherent tendencies, vasanas, and this is one word we'll be in our course of study in some of the scriptures in Chinmaya Mission. I think this is one word that you'll come across very common. So please,
Reflect on that word, vasanas. And always we yearn for material things. We never bother about what nature has given. Nature gives us free of cost so many things: sun, vegetables, fruits, air we breathe in. But we never show gratitude towards it. So one way of giving gratitude is selflessly give whatever you can to this world for the betterment of this world. So actually, basic reason behind doing art is that only I'm offering God. You have given so much to us, free of cost, without any desire, without any expectations. So please offer my love and gratitude towards you for giving. And you have to selflessly act in your day-to-day routine also. Okay. Now next para, Adit will take over. Adit, are you there? Yeah, Adit, go ahead.
When the aarti is actually performed, quite often our eyes close automatically. This is to signify that each of us in the temple of the Lord, we hold the divinity within. The priest reveals the form of the Lord clearly with the aarti flame. The Guru too clearly reveals to us the divinity within us with the light of spiritual knowledge. At the end of the aarti, we place our hands over the flame and then touch our eye head. It means, may the light that illumine the Lord light up my vision. May my vision be divine and my thoughts noble and beautiful.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, shall I continue?
now you have to.
Any
No,
reflection?
any written on this para
Yeah.
or anything you
Yeah, actually,
it clicks?
I experienced this before. So, like when I used to go to temples, and my mother and my grandma used to pray in front of the God, so they used to automatically close their eye, and sometimes, they even cry. So that showed me like they had the divinity within and the faith in God. So, and similarly the priest also, like after when they do the puja and aarti, they also reveal the form of the Lord clearly with the aarti flame by, like, circling around the idol. And the teacher or the guru too, which who also reveals our divinity within us too with the light of spiritual knowledge. And at the end of the aarti, it's taught to us by our parents that we should always place our hands over the flame and then touch our eyes and the top of forehead, which means like the flame of the aarti is usually represented as a knowledge, like the sacred knowledge given by the god, which we bestow upon our eyes, and we always have a noble vision, and we become divine.
Yeah, with the divine thoughts and
Yeah.
divine vision. Very good, Adit. Okay. Okay, then Palvi, go ahead with the next.
The philosophical meaning of Aarti extends further. The sun, moon, stars, lightning, and fire are natural sources of light. The Lord is the source of all these wondrous phenomena of the universe. It is due to Him alone that all else exists and shine. As we light up the Lord with the flame of Aarti, we turn our attention to the very source of light, which symbolizes knowledge and life.
Yeah.
Should I continue?
Anything you have to say about this para?
This para just says that Lord alone is the reason why everything natural and every human exists.
And without it, there is nothing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Aarti is a form of Lord, and that shows that everything exists and shines.
Yeah, because we as a human being, we need form. That's our last class. We just got connected with the form in the way of Om. Now we have to show our love or gratitude towards while doing Aarti. We have to show that make our divine in our make us with the noble, fill us with the noble thoughts, divine thoughts, and we act selflessly. Okay.
Another meaning out of this is this, that okay, if let's say this is something completely dark and you are searching something, so what is the way, how can you find, like, there is something that is lost in a dark room, or let's say sometimes when we are there at home and suddenly the electricity goes off, everything is dark, and how do we find things that we want? Let's say we want to reach out to maybe our mobile phone, or we want to reach out to some book or something, or some keys somewhere. What do we do? Something. So what is the way to
We put up a candle. Light
sorry,
up a
you
We
candle.
maybe go outside the house and search for it where there is
Yeah.
light.
There's some source of light, right? So when we have a complete night, let's say it's dark and all that, and so early morning, just as you see the sun rays, or just as the sun is rising, what do we see? There's a light all around. There's a brilliance, color of brilliance. So that's the source of illuminations. That's the source where the thing is coming. So that is what it's signifying over here. That Aarti signifies the source of light. Maybe there is a story that you'd like to tell.
I would like to tell on this. That's it. One story. There was one father who was on the verge of the death, and he wanted to test his children. So he gave 100 rupees to each one of them. He had 3 sons. He gave 100 rupees to each one of them and told to fill the room here. They had given room to fill the room with whatever you want. Maximum with the whatever maximum you can fill that room with that 100. So one son filled whole room with the stones. Pura jam pack kar diya. He didn't leave a single space also. Then second son filled with you can say flowers or cotton, whatever it is. But third son, he filled with what? He filled the room with what? Any guesses?
Candle.
Light.
Candle. Yeah, he diya ya candle, whatever it is. So while lighting a lamp or diya, we could still see the each nook and corner of the room. It was seen. It was illuminate. That room was lightened up with a. So that is the concept behind it. So next para, I think Ishan has joined or no?
Yeah, Ishan.
Ishan, go ahead with the next para.
So,
Yeah.
the sun, moon, and fire are the respective presiding deities of the intellect, mind, and speech. The Lord is the supreme consciousness that illumines all of them. Without Him, the intellect cannot think, the mind cannot feel, or the tongue speak. The Lord is beyond the mind, intellect, and speech. How can these finite equipments illumine the infinite Lord? Therefore, I
Okay,
say perform the
stop
arti.
here. Ishan, stop here. Tell me. Just give the insight of this para.
Ma'am, all the things are,
Okay.
we cannot act through them. Lord should be present so that we can act or karmas. Otherwise, all the things are of no use.
Actual evaluation. Then this chant, will you take over the chant?
Therefore, as we perform the arati, we chant Na tatra suryo bhakti, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyuto kuto yam agniha, tam eva bhantam anubhakti sarvam, tasya bhasha sarvam idam vibhati.
English version of this meaning. He is there where the sun does.
He is there where the sun does not shine, nor the moon, stars, and lightning. Then what to talk of this small flame in my hand? Everything in the universe shines only after the Lord, and by His light alone is all illumined.
Everything is. There is nothing beyond. Okay. So we have completed this text, and I would.
So how are we doing on the 7 habits? All of you are doing good on habits. Any questions on the 7 habits? Because this is something which we'll keep on revisiting time and again. It should become part of our life. Because the next habit, 8th habit that I'm going to speak about, can be talked about, can be discussed about, can be thought about only when we have the 7 habits inculcated in our mind thoroughly. You know, all those 7 habits that we have should be very well understood before we get on to the 8th habit. So we'll get into 8th habit. 8th habit is something different. Okay, by way of some slides, I will try to explain just a preamble, because 8th habit probably will spend more time. Probably we'll need to get on to the whole concept. Okay. So basically, 8th habit that we speak about is how to get from. See, in today's world, most of us definitely we need to be effective, right? It's like as good as it's in your toll. Every morning we need to brush our teeth, right? We need to. I mean, it's a kind of something which is given. I mean, there is nobody who says no, today I'll not brush, isn't it? So it's given, like, being very something like hygienic part of our life. So likewise in our performance, be it at school or be it at work, it is given, it is definitely for sure that we have to be effective. If you are not effective, for example, if I'm working in some office, likewise if some student is not effective in his studies and all that, do you think the school will allow him to stay in the school? They will say, please call, and then they will call for you, and they will say that you may leave, you are not you are not performing or something like that. So effectiveness is something which definitely all of us need to, today's world definitely need to be effective. So that's what we learned in 7 habits. And to be effective, highly effective, not effective only but highly effective, what are the 7 habits? This is what we learned when we went through all the 7th habit. 8th habit is talking about beyond, from effectiveness to greatness. Okay, so 8th habit is all about how to go from effectiveness to greatness, and how do we use all our faculties that we are going to speak about. So this is just to give you an overview of the thing. You can yeah. So we talk about the whole context of the 8th habit, which is just said about, and then we'll talk about what are the 2 roads that we have, which way you can go, and then the whole habit is about finding your own voice, and allowing others to find their voice. That is the whole thing about. So like Mother Teresa has something very beautiful. Few of us can do great things, but all of us can do small things with great love. Few of us can do great things. I think some of us may be able to do very good in our studies, somebody may be very good in games and sports, somebody may be able to in our own field. But as a team, like we are sitting together as a pre-chicks, or when you are sitting as a team, we can do small things with great love. We can do something, we can do some act which will really act. And so this is all what all the 8th habit is all about. From effectiveness to going to greatness. Okay. So basically, here we have to integrate what we have learned into our life. We have basically learned so many things, and we'll have to integrate it. How do we do it? Know and not to do is really not to know. Okay. So like we say, knowing is not knowing, doing is doing. Okay. I may know so many things. I may know about let's say stars. I may know a lot of things about so many subjects and all that. But if I'm not doing anything about it, if I'm not applying about it, it is of no use. Okay. So knowing is doing is doing. And then to learn and not to do is also not to learn. Okay. Simply learning, just reading some books and just keeping that knowledge, reading, that is not going to help. Okay. To understand something and not to apply is also not required. I mean, if we learn something, it is of no use. I think we break our heads in studying from first standard to, let's say, 12th standard. We go through so many things, so many theorems, so many kinds of formulas, so many things. But then after, let's say, we finish our graduation, everything, if you are not able to apply, if you don't find the application, of what use it is of nothing. Okay, a squared plus b squared plus c squared. I think this is something we learn in school, but then how to apply it is something which is left to us. How do we do it? Okay, it's not only in the doing, but applying that knowledge and understanding are internalized. It should be something which should become part of our regime, part of our day-to-day regime, we say. Okay, so today I'm going to speak about very little, just giving an opening preamble on what is 8th habit all about. We will get into more details. I mean, as we go on, and I think this is one habit probably we'll spend maybe, I don't know, as I said, 6-7 classes also. And I think at the end of that also maybe still some questions, and we may have to redo it again. Okay. Okay, some schools of thought here. Some people think that only some achievers, are high achievers are made and not born. Okay. For example, all of us thought that Sachin Tendulkar is a good batsman. Do you know that he was not a batsman at all? Do you know that? How many of you know? He was actually a bowler. Indian cricket team as a bowler actually. Even his talent of batsmanship was known only later on. He was selected in the team only for his thing. So this achievers are made. They are not born. Actually. Some believe like that. So this is one school of thought. Second school of thought is, if the team members are given enough information and knowledge and trained enough, they'll be able to productive. So we always feel okay. If today pre-check class, I give them the entire knowledge. They have now studied. They have studied. They have the complete knowledge. Okay, and maybe Sonia madam will take you through the training also. Maybe some skill, how to perform arti, or what to do about how to offer coconut. All that they maybe do. And we feel okay. Now there is everything in the world that I gave you, and now you are through. So these are the 2 schools of thought which may not be true. and focus on identifying which abilities we are lacking in trying to fill this. And sometimes we feel that okay, maybe I'm not doing well in mathematics. I need a tuition in mathematics, and if I'm given that, I'll be able to do that well. So these are some of the schools of thought that we carry on, and I think in this habit we will eradicate and we'll try to find a different dimension. We'll find a different way of thinking on that. Okay. And sometimes we feel areas of improvement, and area of weakness. As we were mentioning last time, we work on SWOT analysis. We said strength, weakness. We work on that. We find out, where is our strength, where is our weakness. So we worked on that. So these are some of the schools of thought where we feel that if this is done, everything is okay. And from tomorrow, I'll become, let's say, from zero, I'll become a hero. No, that's what we think. Okay, so I think stop over here. I will not go into that because now I think due to lack of time and that you have to pegging also you only 20 minutes today. So this is just a preamble to think about the eighth habit is all about going from from effectiveness to greatness. How do we do it as an individual? First as an individual, and once we have done that, how do you do it in a team? And for people who are who matter the most in our life, how do we contribute also to them? Okay. So with that, I hand over to Sonia for the pegging session.
Okay, here we go. So I would like to add, some students, they feel that we are not, our parents are not so educated. That's why we are not progressing or whatever. That kind of feeling is also not correct. It is, everything depends on you, how you are going about it, how we are getting it trained, and analyzing yourself, your weaknesses and strengths, and work more on strengths that we had studied in one of our habit. So now we'll continue with the pegging, and in between I will not give any objects. So that means it is blank. So don't ask, ma'am, where number 3 is what, number 4 is what. If I directly jump to some other number, means that number is blank. No object is given. 20 camphor. Okay.
Can you
27
repeat?
candle. Pardon?
Can you repeat?
20 camphor.
20
camphor. Kapoor. Camphor. 27 candle. Eleven paper. Eighteen watch. $23 pen. One register. Number 10, flowers. Flowers. $29, dhoop.
Can you repeat?
DHOOP, dhoop. Number 6, matchbox. Number 15, wires. Number 4, tender coconut. Number 13, agarbatti. Number 25, ceiling fan. Number 8, lights. #21, bookmark. #70, give. Okay, till then. 30.
Ma'am, 35 till 35.
Can I do till 30?
Okay, till 35. Okay.
Yeah, if everybody is okay with.
Wait. Okay.
Vic or wig?
33 is Rangoli.
Ma'am, can you repeat it, please?
WI बाती CK. जोत जलाते हैं ना वो बाती. Wick. WICK. 30
Okay,
is
so
wick.
which number is it?
30.
30.
30. 30.
Okay, okay.
And 33 is Rangoli.
Okay.
33 is Rangoli. 31 is oil.
Okay.
What?
Oil. OIL. Oil.
Which number?
31. 34 is Lord Ganesha. And we are done with it. I'll give you 2 minutes time. Go through your objects. Randeep, are you there?
Yeah, ma'am, but only till 30.
Okay, no matter.
I'll
That's why I
try.
wanted to- Okay, can you tell me from 1 to 10 all the objects? What are they?
Ma'am, 1 was register.
Very good.
Then 4 was tender coconut.
Okay.
6th was diya.
No, that is wrong. 6 is wrong. It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead then. Which number?
Ma'am, I don't know.
Okay,
After
it's
that.
okay. But very good. At least you tried. And, okay, Manya, can you go ahead? 1 to 10. Manya, tell me.
1 was register.
Okay.
4 was 8 was flower.
No, wrong.
10 was light.
I think I gave 8 lights, no?
Yes, ma'am.
8 was light.
10 was flower and 8 was light.
Yeah, 8 was light and 10 was flower, Manya. And 6, 4 and 6.
Matchbox.
Matchbox is which number?
6.
Okay, good. 4.
4th one. Tender coconut.
Yes, correct. Another other I didn't give, it was blank. Okay, I'll hand over to Ishan. Ishan, continue from 11 to 20.
11, paper.
Okay.
13, Aarti.
No, it's wrong. Okay, go ahead with other numbers.
15, wires.
Correct.
18 watch,
Okay. In 2019,
20 camphor,
okay. Then 17,
it is blank.
no, 17 is not blank. Anyone? Raise your hand if you want to answer. 17, number 17, which object? It was milk. 17 was milk. Okay, from 21 to 30,
23 is pen.
okay.
25 is uh, 25 is blank.
25 is not blank. Okay.
Okay.
You can recollect, you can come back. Go ahead.
25 ceiling fan.
Yes, correct. 25 is ceiling fan.
29 is dhoop.
Okay.
And 30 is wick.
Okay, one more object is there in that slot. Number 27.
Candle.
Okay.
Candle.
Go ahead. Yes, good. Very good. Very good. 235. Adit.
Ma'am. 31 is oil.
Okay.
32 is blank.
Okay.
33 is Rangoli.
Okay.
And 34 is Lord Ganesha. And 35 is blank.
No, 35 is ghee.
You're given you?
Yeah, I gave
Maybe
ghee.
I'm.
Maybe you missed it.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, very good. And why today I think you faced, everyone faced problem because of I gave random objects. Is it because of that, or is it after a gap we are doing pegging?
Yeah, because like
What
after a
was
gap,
the
we had
reason?
started like, chronologically. So we had not started with randomly. So we have facing a little bit problem.
Yeah, this was the first class with the random object. I thought for long we are doing this.
This is also to see how strong you are able to form your rhymes, So I think this is one way. So it should be irrespective of the sequence. Okay. So whatever is your picture for, let's say 35, 34, it has to be something very concrete. You cannot. So even if any random comes, you should not be afraid. You should not, you should be able to still do it. Okay. So that was actually the objective. Okay, to give the random objective. So make your rhymes very strong. Wherever you find difficulties, please let me know, or let Karan know. We will help you to form that rhyme and make it very strong. Okay.
Yeah, anyone volunteering for 1 to 35 objects? You can say from 1 to 35, all the objects. 1 to 35.
I can try.
Okay, Palvi, go ahead. Good.
1 register, 2, 3 blank, 4
no.
What?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. 4 is tender coconut,
Okay.
6 is matchbox, 8 is light, 10 flowers, 11 paper, 13 agarbatti.
Very good. Okay.
17 milk, 18 watch, 20 camphor,
Okay.
21 bookmark, 23 pen, 25 ceiling fan, 27 candle, 20, 29 dhoop,
Okay.
30 wick,
Very good.
31 oil,
Very
32
good.
blank,
Okay.
33 rangoli,
Okay.
34 Lord Ganesha,
Okay.
and 35, what did you say, Geet?
Yeah, ghee.
Ghee,
Very
okay.
good.
Very good.
All of you
One.
should clap.
Yeah.
All of you
Or
should clap.
before that, one number you mentioned. Number 15. What is it?
Wires.
Wire. Very good.
No, but still a very good effort.
Very
It
good
was like
effort.
it was like a
A
computer.
big round of applause to Pallavi. Very good. Maybe
So-
we'll be starting a new text, Hanuman Chalisa. I hope everyone has that chanting sloka. Hanuman Chalisa book everyone has, then raise your hand or do thumbs up. I hope I'm audible because nobody's answering. So, okay. Manya is having, Palvi is having. What about Siddhi, Adit, Meghna, Smaira, Ishan?
Ma'am, which
Could
book?
you arrange Adit? Huh?
Ma'am, which book you
Yeah.
told?
No. Hanuman Chalisa. Hanuman Chalisa.
Ma'am, I think I
Hanuman
don't
Chalisa
have that book.
channel. वो book है.
I have
You
one.
don't have, then you just arrange for it. Smaira has extra or what?
You can even download it from the
Or
computer.
you can download from the computer because next class we are starting with Hanuman Chalisa. Or
Ma'am,
you
which
can
front
ask your
page?
neighbor or friends. If anyone has, you can just share it. Huh? Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Ma'am, which front page is of which color?
No, it's
No,
not
no.
a book. It is Hanuman Chalisa itself. I think
It's
later on book about
chant.
the book is-
Chanting Hanuman Chalisa, and each chant we will explain each line. Dohas aata hai Hanuman Chalisa. So you can ask your neighbors or anyone has. You can just tell for a few days I need it because of this lockdown. Okay, see. Okay. Namah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Okay. Hari Om. Have a nice week. Good week ahead. Enjoy your week. Stay healthy and safe. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.